Hello students, the last video is very small one and that's why I cannot complete it that Archaebacteria in that lecture. So in today's lecture the same point will be continued from the chapter biological classification. So yesterday we have in our lecture we have seen that the bacteria, though they have the simple structure but they have the complex behavior. That means they have the higher metabolic diversity, that is they are autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. We have also seen that these bacteria for our convenience are divided into two groups, and those groups are the eubacteria and the archaebacteria. And we have just started our point, that is the archaebacteria. So in this archaebacteria, these archaebacteria, which are the major group of this kingdom Monera, these archaebacteria are found in harsh adverse environmental condition. What is meant by harsh adverse environmental condition? That means they are found in such a habitat, in such an area where generally other living organisms are absent. So according to their presence in a particular habitat, these archaebacteria are divided mainly into two types, and those types are some are called as the halophils. Some archaebacteria are called as the halophils. Some bacteria of this category are called as the thermoacidophils. And some of these bacteria are called as the methanogens. So these are broadly the three types of this archaebacteria: halophils, thermoacidophils and the methanogen. Then what is meant by halophils? Halophils means these are the archaebacteria which are found in extreme salty areas. That means in that area there is a high salt concentration, and due to which other living beings are absent there, but this archaebacteria will be present there, and such a bacteria which has the presence in high salt concentration, that is called as the halophils. So halophils are nothing but they are present in high salty areas, and those archaebacteria are called as the halophils. Then the second type of the archaebacteria is the thermoacidophil. Thermoacidophils means those archaebacteria which are present at higher temperature, and that is at the hot springs. They are present in the hot spring where the temperature is too much high, and at that temperature no other living organism can afford or can survive at that temperature, but this archaebacteria can survive at that temperature, so it is called as the thermoacidophils. Then the last category of the archaebacteria, which we call as the methanogens, these bacteria are generally found in the marshy areas, particularly in the rumen or the gut of the ruminant animal. These methanogen bacteria, which are the type of the archaebacteria, are found in the marshy areas. Marshy area means ज्या ठिकाणी भरपूर झाडी वगैरे पाहायला मिळतात, that is called as the marshy areas. As well as it is found in the gut, that means the stomach part of the ruminant animal, and particularly the ruminant animals are the cows and buffaloes. In the gut of the cows and buffaloes, these methanogens are present, and where they produce the particular gas, and that gas is called as methane. So methane is one of the important biogas which is produced by this methanogenic bacteria. So these methanogens are present in the gut of cows and buffaloes, where they are present. One thing is here that in the rural area you find that there are the gobar gas, and by this gobar gas there is a use of the cow dung, which we call as a gobar, and with the help of this gobar, which is used in that gobar gas plant, and there will be formation of the methane gas, and due to this gas there will be the burning of the that particular gas, and on that gas the food is prepared. म्हणजेच खेडोपाडी जे गोबर गॅस वापरला जातो, या गोबर गॅसमध्ये ते शेण किंवा गोबर वापरण्याचं कारणच हे आहे, त्या गोबरमध्ये आपल्याला मिथॅनोजन बॅक्टेरिया पाहायला मिळतात की ज्या पर्टिक्युलरली त्या गोबरमध्ये मिथेन गॅस तयार करतात अँड विच इज यूज फॉर द गोबर गॅस प्लांटेशन. This gobar or methane gas is used everywhere. It is used in the used for the food preparation in kitchen. This gobar gas is also used for the running of the small scale industries. This gobar gas can be transported from one place to the another place. The lights on the street as well as the light on from the home can be also run with the help of this gobar, or with the help of this not gobar, with the help of this methane gas. But we know only one use of it, that is it is used for the food preparation in the rural areas by using the gobar gas plant. Okay, why it is used? Because the dung of the cow contains this methanogenic bacteria which are particularly involved for the formation of the gas, and that gas is called as a methane. Methane is also called as the biogas. So you see here how or which structure of this archaebacteria is responsible for formation of this or the presence of this archaebacteria in the adverse environmental condition where no other living organisms are present, and this is only due to the special structure of the cell wall of this archaebacteria. This archaebacteria cell wall is very different, very special one, and due to that these archaebacteria you will find in the adverse environmental condition. Such a cell wall of the archaebacteria is not found into other organisms, and due to cell wall only, which is hard outermost covering of that bacteria, are able to bacteria to survive in such a adverse environmental condition. If you see the previous questions of the NEET exam, then you will find that the number of questions from this archaebacteria are asked, and they are asked from the halophils, thermoisotophils and methanogens. Sometimes there are two columns are given in the question. At one side the name is given halophil, thermoisotophil and methanogen, and on the other side their meaning are given. So you should know the which organisms are called as methanogen, which are the halophils, which are the what means the thermoisotophil. Okay, this is about the archaebacteria, and for theory point of view, if there is question asked that write a note on the archaebacteria, then you have to write that these archaebacteria are found in adverse environmental condition. According to their presence in the adverse environmental condition, they are classified into halophil, thermoisotophil and the methanogen, and such a characteristics of the archaebacteria in the adverse condition is only due to their special cell wall structure. Okay, this is about the archaebacteria, which is very important one. Now we will see the next category of the bacteria, and that is called as the eubacteria. This eubacteria is also called as the true bacteria. So we will see the second category of this bacteria, and that is the eubacteria. Number of times we have seen the meaning of eu. Eu means true, such as in eukaryotic cell we have seen the true nucleus. Okay, like that eukaryotic, like the eukaryotic word eubacteria is also called as the true bacteria. Eu means true, and these are also called as the true bacteria. It does not mean that archaebacteria are the false bacteria, but eubacteria is also called as true bacteria because they are somewhat more advanced than that of the archaebacteria. So the name is given as the true bacteria. Okay, these eubacteria also, there are number of examples of this eubacteria than the archaebacteria. There are thousands of eubacteria known than the archaebacteria. Means if the question is asked that which bacteria are more in number, archaea or eubacteria, then you should know the eubacteria are more in number. There are number of examples of this eubacteria. One thing is here that this eubacteria is also have the cell wall, because we have seen that in the tabular form of our previous lectures that cell wall is the characteristics of this Monera. So which is the outermost covering in that bacteria, because bacteria is a sole member, and we are discussing about the types of this bacteria, and that type is eubacteria. So cell wall which is present in eubacteria is rigid one. Rigid means it is a very tough, it is non-breakable, and due to which this bacteria is also found more in number because they have the rigid cell wall. Here we have to see that the metabolic diversity of the bacteria is they are autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. Now here in eubacteria we are going to study now, that is the two types of the autotroph, that is the photosynthetic autotroph and the chemosynthetic autotroph. Because in autotroph we have seen that some bacteria using the light can prepare their food, that we call as a photosynthetic autotroph, and some bacteria use chemical energy released in their body, and that energy is used for the ATP formation, that we call as a chemosynthetic autotrophs. Okay, so the first point of this eubacteria is the photosynthetic autotrophs. Photosynthetic autotrophs. Photo means light, synthetic means formation. By using of the light there will be formation of the food, and that's why they are called as photosynthetic autotroph. Autotroph means you are well known about this term. Auto means self and troph means food. They can self prepare their food, so we call it as a autotroph. So by using sunlight they can prepare their food, that's why we call it as a photosynthetic autotroph. And the well known example of it is the cyanobacteria, which we also call as the blue-green algae, which we also call as a blue-green algae. Then, what is meant by the cyanobacteria? The one thing is that here we will see first the diagram of this blue-green algae or the cyanobacteria, which is one of the major example from the kingdom Monera or from the photosynthetic autotroph. And if we see the structure of this cyanobacteria, then you will find the structure like this. Some of the cells have the special structure. This is called as heterocister, and they have such a slimy gelatinous covering. Okay, so this is about the cyanobacteria or the blue-green algae. Here you can see the structure of the cyanobacteria. What is meant by the cyanobacteria? What is the importance of the cyanobacteria? Why they are very important as an example of kingdom Monera? That now we will discuss here. But before that, you should know the diagram of the cyanobacteria, how it looks. If the structure we see here, the number of cells are here, and in one of the cell, the name of that cell is called as a heterocister. And these cyanobacteria are covered by a slimy secretion, and we have given the name for that, that is called as a gelatinous sheet, किंवा we also say that as a mucilaginous sheet. आणि त्यामुळं हे अतिशय गुळगुळीत लागतात, आपल्याला चिकट असे लागतात, घसरतात पटकन आपल्या हातातून. Due to this mucilaginous sheet, or which is also called as the gelatinous sheet. Okay. Have you seen the diagram of the cyanobacteria, how it looks? Now we will discuss the characteristics of this photosynthetic autotroph, that means the blue-green algae, and those characters are very important from the NEET point of view, for the NEET point of view. So we will see that characteristics, which are those characteristics. Okay, now we will see the characters, that which are those characters. Okay, next part is the characteristics of blue green algae. The characteristics of blue green algae. Here we see that first characteristics is they have chlorophyll A pigment. They have the chlorophyll A pigment, which is very similar pigment like that of the green plant. First, you should know that green plant can prepare food with the help of light, as well as one of the important pigment that is called as a chlorophyll pigment, chlorophyll A, because this pigment only responsible for conversion of the sunlight energy into the chemical energy, and without chlorophyll A, not a single organism carry out the photosynthesis. So like the plant, this chlorophyll A, which is the essential pigment for photosynthesis, when light is going to use here, it is used by this blue green algae and they carry out the photosynthesis. So chlorophyll A is responsible for carrying out the photosynthesis in this blue green algae. It is one of the first important characteristics. Then the second characteristics is that these blue green algae are unicellular. That means they are very primitive one. Their body is made up of only one cell. They are colonial, that means always found in the group. They are not present in a single form, they are present in a group, so we call it as a colonial. They are filamentous, their body is like the thread, and if you separate one of the thread and observe it under the microscope, then you will see the structure that we have drawn here or we have sketched here. Okay, so here they are unicellular, made up of single cell. They are found in a group that is called as a colonial. Their body is thread-like. They are called as a filamentous. It is the structure of this cyanobacteria. Primarily, they may be marine or terrestrial. They are found in the marine water. Marine water, that means the salty water, as well as they may be occur in the terrestrial region, that is means in the land. So they are may be present in the marine water or they may be found on the land, that is called as a terrestrial form. Second characteristics is that they, with the help of the special cell, just we have sketched here, and the name of that cell is called as the heterocyst, and with the help of this heterocyst they can fix atmospheric nitrogen. So next characteristics is that they can fix atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, the heterocyst is the cell of the cyanobacteria which has ability to fix the atmospheric nitrogen, and after fixation of that atmospheric nitrogen, that nitrogen can be made available to the plant by this cyanobacteria. So cyanobacteria, because you should know that heterocyst is the only cell which can fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Other normal cells cannot fix the atmospheric nitrogen. So this atmospheric nitrogen can be fixed by the cyanobacteria with the help of heterocyst. Fifth characteristics is that they form blooms in water bodies. That means when they are present in the marine form, either in the ocean or in the seas, then here you will see that blooms means in Marathi we call as a तवंग. सरफेसवर पूर्ण पाण्याच्या ते ट्रिमेंडस अमाउंट मध्ये ग्रो होतात आणि काय तयार करतात, एक लेयर आपल्याला तयार करत असलेली पाहायला मिळतात. त्यामुळे संपूर्ण पाण्यावर त्यांचे ते पसरलेले असतात. दॅट इज कॉल्ड ॲज दी ब्लूम. It is the next characteristics, and the last one is the examples of the cyanobacteria, and they are the nostoc and the anabina. Nostoc and the anabina. These are the two examples of this blue bacteria or the for example cyanobacteria or the blue green algae. So once again, see here which are the characteristics of the blue green algae. This blue green algae has the chlorophyll A pigment like that of the green plant, and that's why this blue green algae can prepare their food with the help of this chlorophyll A like the green plant. So we included it in the photosynthetic autotroph. Second one, their body is made up of single cell. They are always found in the group. Their body is like the thread, so we call it as a filamentous. They are found in the salty water, that is in marine water. They are also found on the land, that is the terrestrial form. With the help of the heterocyst cell, they can fix atmospheric nitrogen and they can be made available to the other plants. They form blooms on the water surface because the rate of reproduction in this cyanobacteria is always more. So on the water surface, they grow tremendously and form a surface layer that is called as a bloom. And the last point is that the example of this cyanobacteria, an example of this cyanobacteria is the nostoc and Anabaena, because if any question for the MCQ is asked from this cyanobacteria, then the question is asked by taking the example nostoc and Anabaena. So everyone should know that nostoc and Anabaena, these are the two examples of this blue-green algae. So blue-green algae means nostoc and Anabaena. This is about the eubacterial photosynthetic autotrophs. Now we will discuss the next type, and that is called as the chemosynthetic autotrophs. Means some of the members of this eubacteria are also called as autotroph, but they can prepare their food not by using the sunlight or by using the chlorophyll pigment, but they prepare their food with the help of chemical energy which is released in their body. How this chemical energy is released in their body? Because in every living organism in the living world, we have seen the properties of the living world. Metabolic reactions are occurring in the body of the every living organisms, and they are due to this metabolic reactions, the number of chemical reactions are occurring inside the body of living organism, and with this chemical energy, chemical reactions, energy get released, and this energy can be used by this organism for preparation of the food. So next type is the chemosynthetic autotrophs. Chemosynthetic autotrophs. Chemosynthetic autotrophs means what? See here. Chemosynthetic autotrophs, that means, the definition is that some of the bacteria oxidize various inorganic, some of the bacteria oxidize various inorganic substances like nitrate, nitrite and ammonia. Like nitrate, nitrite and ammonia, and release energy. And release energy for synthesis of ATP. For synthesis of ATP. Okay, what is meant by synthesis of ATP? ATP means adenosine triphosphate. It is a source of energy. It is called as the energy coins that we will discuss in detail in the respiration topic. But see here, what is meant by chemosynthetic autotroph? They do not use the sunlight, they do not have the chlorophyll A pigment, but they prepare their food with the help of oxidation of the various inorganic molecules in their body, and it includes the nitrate, nitrite and ammonia. With the help of these three molecules, they oxidize these three molecules By oxidation, there will be energy release, and with the help of their energy, they prepare their food in the form of ATP molecule. That's why we call it as a chemosynthetic autotroph. That's why we call it as a chemosynthetic autotroph. It is a major difference between photosynthetic autotrophs and the chemosynthetic autotroph. Another point is that these chemosynthetic bacteria not only are responsible for the chematotroph, but they are also useful in recycling of the nutrients. So second major importance of it is that they are helpful for recycling of nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, iron, etc. So these are always recycled, some of the nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, iron. And how this recycling occurs? Because as you know, the body of every living organism is made up of this nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, sulfur. When that living body become dead, this living body, after these components from that dead body mix into the soil, and from the soil again it get entered into the plant which is germinated in that soil, and again from the dead body it goes to the soil, and from the soil that nutrient again goes into the plant body. That is called as the recycling of the nutrients. And here this bacteria plays a role in the recycling, because for the decomposition of that dead body there will be chemosynthetic bacteria other than the other bacteria. So this chemosynthetic bacteria also has some little role in the decomposition of the dead body, and that's why they have role in the recycling of these nutrients. So these are the two important points of this chemosynthetic autotroph. They synthesize their food with the help of oxidization of the nitrite, nitrate and ammonia, and energy is released for their preparation, and food get preparation prepared in the form of ATP. Second point is that there will be recycling of the nutrient like nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, iron, and it is also carried out by this chemosynthetic autotroph. So these are the two groups of the eubacteria, photosynthetic autotroph and the chemosynthetic autotroph. Now we will discuss the second major category of this eubacteria, and those are the heterotrophs. That means bacteria are not only autotrophs but they are also heterotrophs, and the heterotrophs are always more than the autotrophic organisms. So if the question is asked that which organisms of the eubacteria are more in number, autotroph or heterotroph, the answer is the heterotroph, because heterotroph is always more than the autotroph. So next point is the heterotrophs. Hetero and the trophs, these are the two words, okay? Then what is meant by heterotrophs? Opposite to heterotrophs are there. That means hetero means depend, and trophs means the food. For their food requirement, they always depend on the other organism. They cannot prepare their food. That is why it is called as the heterotrophs. And they are most abundant organism. Most abundant means they are more than the autotrophs. So we call it as the most abundant organisms are the heterotrophs. Most of the heterotrophs are of the category, and it is called as the decomposer. Most of the category of the heterotrophs include the decomposer. Just I have told you that what is meant by decomposer. The organism which decompose the body of dead living organism, which we call as a decomposer. Any plant or any animal when become dead, okay, is a dead body get broken down by the different organisms, and those organisms are called as the decomposer. They are mainly present in the soil, because dead body are present on the soil, and this decomposer degrade the body of that organism, dead organism, that is called as the decomposer. So second important thing from the heterotroph is that They are also abundant as well as they are mainly of the decomposer. Now you are known that there are number of examples we know in our surrounding and which are due to this heterotrophic eubacteria. That means some of the example is that formation of the curd. Okay, dahi म्हणतो आपण त्याला. Formation of the curd in our home is due to this eubacteria. That means from the milk curd will be formed, and the bacteria which is responsible for curd formation are called as lactobacillus bacteria. These are also heterotroph. There will be number of antibiotics are prepared for the treatment of the ill person. Antibiotic is nothing but the medicine. And what is antibiotic? Antibiotic is some kind of medicine which is used to prevent the disease or which is used to treat the ill person. And these antibiotics are majorly prepared from this bacteria. Antibiotics are also prepared from the fungi, but bacteria has also important role in the preparation of this antibiotic. Then nitrogen fixation is the another important function of this heterotroph, because there is one example of the bacteria, name of that bacteria is rhizobium. This rhizobium bacteria, like the Nostocorynebina, also can fix atmospheric nitrogen, but it requires association of the leguminous plant. Leguminous plant means in Marathi we call as घेवडा, पावटा, वाटाणा. These are called as the leguminous plant. So this rhizobium bacteria always lives in association with this leguminous plant. They can fix atmospheric nitrogen and make it available to this leguminous plant. So this is the main importance of this heterotroph. That means for curd formation, for antibiotic formation, for nitrogen fixation, these heterotrophs are important. But there are some other roles of these heterotrophs are also known, and some of these bacteria are also causes the various types of diseases in the human being, in the pet animal, or in the other animal. And which are these diseases? For example, cholera, typhoid, tetanus, citrus canker. These are some of the diseases which are exclusively due to this bacteria that we call as a bacterial disease. Cholera, typhoid, tetanus, citrus canker. These are some of the bacterial diseases which are due to this new type of the bacteria. So here we have seen the importance of these heterotrophs. That is, how they are measured in number, they are mostly decomposer, and in day-to-day life their role. If we see the reproduction in this bacteria, then you will find two types of the reproduction is found in the bacteria, which is an example of this kingdom Monera. And which type of the reproduction? Here you will find that there are two types of reproduction. One type is called as asexual reproduction, and other type is called as sexual reproduction. Now we will see asexual and sexual reproduction. Just we have seen that asexual means only one parent is involved here. Sexual means there is the involvement of the two parents. So in asexual type of reproduction, two types are there. One is called as the binary fission, and another one is called as the spore formation. What is meant by binary fission? See, this is the structure of the bacteria. Okay, this bacteria which has to reproduce, it undergoes the process of binary fission. That means simply this bacteria either cut vertically, or this bacteria can be cut horizontally, and after that there will be formation of two new bacteria is there. Two new bacteria will be, keep silence. After that there will be two new formation of the bacteria, which is called as the daughter bacteria, and these daughter bacteria are produced by simply the division of this बॅक्टेरिया व्हर्टिकली डिवाइड झालं तरी 2 पाया मिळाले आपल्याला ना, हॉरिझॉन्टली डिवाइड झालं तरी आपल्याला 2 पाया मिळाले, आयदर vertically or horizontally, not at a time both. Okay, so it forms the 2 1. कन्फ्युजन नको तुमचं म्हणून आपण असं सांगू इथं, it can be divided into 2 and there will be formation of these 2 dotted nuclei. It is called as a binary fission. Second type is the spore formation. What is mean by spore formation? During the adverse environmental condition or during the unfavorable environmental condition, these bacteria avoid that environmental condition, produce the small spores, and these spores after unfavorable condition finish, and when the favorable condition comes, these spore form during the favorable condition, these spore germinate and they again form the new bacteria. So these spore are produced by the bacteria during unfavorable condition, but when favorable condition comes, the same spore germinate and form the new bacteria. So this is the second type of the asexual production, where only one parent has a role in that reproduction. But in the sexual reproduction, there will be involvement of the 2 bacteria, involvement of the 2 parent, and here there will be transfer of primitive DNA, which is called as the genetic material of the bacteria, transfer of DNA from one bacteria or one bacterium to another bacterium. Okay, transfer of DNA from one bacterium to another bacterium is called as the sexual reproduction. And how it occurs, that we'll see here, but majority of the bacteria shows the reproduction by fission and the spore formation. See here, this is the diagram of the one bacteria. This bacteria has this outer cell wall and inner plasma membrane. These 2 bacteria come close together, they join together, and here you will find that there is an exchange of this genetic material that is called as the DNA. It is also called as a conjugation. So here another term for the sexual reproduction is also called as conjugation. Conjugation means simply there is a union of these 2 bacteria and there is exchange of genetic material from one bacterium into another bacterium. That is called as the sexual reproduction in the bacterium. Okay, this is about the sexual and asexual type of the reproduction in bacteria. Then the very last part of this kingdom Monera is another example of this kingdom Monera is called as the mycoplasma. See here which example we have seen in the kingdom Monera. First we have seen the bacteria, again we have seen the blue-green bacteria or cyanobacteria, and now we are going to discuss the third example of this kingdom Monera, and that is the mycoplasma. Mycoplasma. Then what is mean by this mycoplasma? This is the third example, okay, which is given in the NCERT. Important characteristics is that mycoplasma is the smallest cell of the living organisms. Largest cell is the egg of the ostrich and the smallest cell is the mycoplasma. This mycoplasma lack cell wall. They do not have the cell wall. They can survive without oxygen, so they can present or survive without O2. That means they are anaerobic and they are pathogenic to animals see here, the last part of the kingdom Monera is that Mycoplasma is the next example of the kingdom Monera. This Mycoplasma are the smallest cell. If the question is asked that which is the smallest cell of, or which is the smallest cell, then the answer is the Mycoplasma. This Mycoplasma do not have the cell wall, so it is lack the cell wall. They can survive without O2, that's why it is called as anaerobic. And the last one is that they are pathogenic, means they are harmful, they produce the disease. When we call it as a pathogenic, because any organism when produce the disease, we call it as a pathogenic. To the animals and the plant, they are pathogenic to plants and the animals. Thus here students, we have completed the first kingdom. The name of that kingdom is the Monera. But see here, the kingdom Monera that you have to study from first to last very carefully. We'll just take the revision that which part we have seen in this kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera includes one of the sole example, and that is the bacteria. These bacteria generally classify into Archaebacteria and the Eubacteria. Archaebacteria are halopid, then the thermoacidophile and the methanogens. Their cell wall is different than the other bacteria. Eubacteria are again of the photosynthetic autotroph, chemosynthetic autotroph and the heterotroph. In the photosynthetic autotroph, we have seen the example of the blue green algae, which is also called as the cyanobacteria. In chemosynthetic autotroph, we have seen the examples of the bacteria which oxidize the inorganic substances in their body and also useful for recycling of the nutrients. Then the next category of the eubacteria is the heterotrophs. In that heterotrophs, most of them are the decomposer and others are used for preparation of curd, antibiotic and nitrogen fixation. The number of diseases in the human, in the other animal and plants are also due to this heterotrophs. And last, we have seen that Mycoplasma is one of the example of this kingdom Monera, which is the smallest cell, which lack the cell wall, which can survive without oxygen and which is exclusively pathogenic to the animals and the plants. So students, here we have completed our very important kingdom, that is the kingdom Monera. So you should know that kingdom Monera, which are the examples of kingdom Monera? Bacteria, blue-green algae or the cyanobacteria and the Mycoplasma. These are the examples of this kingdom Monera broadly. Lactobacillus or other bacteria are also examples, okay, which are included in heterotroph. But broadly, if we take the example, blue-green algae, then this bacteria and the Mycoplasma, these are the examples of kingdom Monera. Okay, in the next lecture, we will see the next kingdom, that is the kingdom Protista. Thank you.